Hello, Dr. Mike here with a lecture material on Windows 10 for Introduction to Operating Systems. At the time of this recording, this would be topic 5, week 5. So we just came off Windows 7, and you'll probably notice a lot of similarities, of course, between 7 and 10. Quick note here, you can see Windows 8 is not covered at all, and previous courses it was, and even then we skipped over it. 8 and 8.1, you'll see it mentioned here in the lecture. It was a flash in the pan for Microsoft, sort of an attempt at a different version of the OS, and it really took off. So we'll see it here mentioned. This is from the textbook, chapter 5. Again, I'm going to really try to summarize the important points from the chapter. Definitely look over the whole chapter to gain any material I don't cover. So first mention here is about installing Windows 10. This is something you could possibly do. I know I really skipped over this in Windows 7 because chances are you're not. But you might find yourself reinstalling Windows 10, whether for a fresh install, emergency install. A lot of reasons why you might need to either install fresh or reinstall Windows. Understand how it works for self-licensing. Either it's personal or it's enterprise. There's also educational licensing. It's important to have a license code. If you use a certain install method, a lot of times it's actually done over the web remotely, so there's no codes being used. But there are times you could get a license code, especially within the Education Edition. You might get an actual code for that. So realize there are Home and Pro editions. You'll see we're coming off Windows 7. I think it's a lot better. Whereas 7 had all kinds of Home and Home Basic and Ultimate and Ultimate with cheese. They had it's too many fragmented editions. I think Windows did a great job here, really. Pro and Home. So, and you'll see there's some differences, of course, in Home and Pro, what it can support in both RAM, and also some of the functionality. Unfortunately, this is my opinion. I think they missed out on having BitLocker only in Pro. I do believe that operating system should take in the end user security at all levels of OS. And this also includes file encryption and TFS, again, only in the Pro edition. So if you see some examples in the textbook about how to use BitLocker or encryption and you don't see it on your home system, it's possible as you're running home. The NetLab itself, I believe, is running Pro. So it might have the ability to actually, see that version, hopefully in the lab itself. So again, move on here. Just look at the, you'll see the different features. So of course, always consult the Microsoft website for features themselves. And I'm going to talk about one feature of Windows that's listed here, and this is actually, as of this recording, Microsoft. Again, this is the best place to go for the updated information about functionality, things like that, versus the slide deck. But there's something called Windows 10 S Mode. This is sort of their verified security. I think it was Windows 10 Lite. There were some devices sold that had this in play, and I'm not going to go through all of it. Realize, though, if you do have a device with S Mode, it's sort of their take on the Chromebook. It only allows you to do certain things that you can't do in full home mode. You can't install software, just any software you download has to be installed through the App Store, things like that. So you can learn about that here. And of course, one of the things you can do is if you do buy a device with Windows 10 S Mode, you can pay to upgrade into regular Windows Home. So in any case, before you do any installation or upgrades, always know your system requirements. I know the slide has them listed here. Always look on the website for the most up-to-date information about the bare system requirements. Now, installing into minimal system requirements, as with any OS, is going to give you a poor experience with the operating system. So it depends on, of course, its use case. I'm installing into a system on a chip. I'm doing a special Windows 10 Raspberry Pi, for a special reason, where I don't need to always interact with it, it's possible that it'd be all right. But if you're just thinking of a general desktop user, if you install into the minimal processor and RAM, especially those two, you're really going to have some issues. It's going to be not be your best experience. So, of course, there's new capabilities too. Now, Windows 8.1 had this sort of touch screen made for the touch screen, and I'm sorry, Windows 8 and 8.1 brought back sort of the start menu. Again, they dumped Windows 8 and 8.1, gave everyone Windows 10 free upgrades. In fact, they want you to go to Windows 10. But it does have the ability in Windows 10 to actually make it multi-touch capable. So keep that in mind. If you have a special multi-touch device, you could turn those on, which is nice. It's not a binary thing. You can either turn them on or off as you see fit for your device. And you can see here upgrade paths. If you find yourself upgrading from Windows 7, understand where it falls in. Professional, Ultimate goes Windows 10, and so on. Again, it's a good example of what I think they did a better job at not fragmenting especially the lower tier here, Starter, Home Basic, Home Premium, just Home and Pro. So Windows 8.1 again, and you can see the upgrade there, almost straightforward. So preparing to install Windows 10 or reinstall actually. This is updates. You might need to have actually updates to allow it to install updated components in the old OS, to allow it to update to the new OS. So always check for that. Probably most important is the second bullet here, backing up your data. You should be doing backups anyways. I talked about this in the security topic. Backups is a huge part of security. I'll say it again, if you're only running one version of your file, lab document, dissertation, one copy of your family photo, it's going to be gone. It'll be gone. It could be gone in 10 seconds, it could be gone in 10 days, it could be gone in 10 months, I don't know. But plan for it to be destroyed, whether it's by accident, system crash, so on, ransomware. So again, and this is a good time also to verify that backup. So yeah, let's say you do back your data, that's awesome. You do backups. Dip into them and check, make sure they're okay. You don't want to actually do an upgrade and have to pull from your backup and find out your past 2 months of backups have been corrupt. So it's a good time to verify your backups are in good working order before you do an upgrade or install. So update firmware. This is a tough one here. Don't look to Microsoft for this. Look to the maker of your system. So let's say the MSI gaming system like I have. Look to them for firmware updates. And even then, I always take firmware updates very seriously. I just don't like to update firmware because they say the new version. What's in it for me? Do I need to update firmware to go to the new install Windows 10? Is the update just add something I don't need? Is it a security update? Then maybe I'll think about it. And make sure you consult documentation from the manufacturer about how to update firmware. That's something, if you do mess up, you could break your system. So update drivers. Something you can do beforehand. You might be able to update drivers. And I guess let's just go with the updates here too. Video drivers, for example, audio drivers, print drivers. A lot of times Windows is very monolithic operating system, so it actually has those drivers installed. But if you have specialty drivers, let's say you have a specialty sound card, or in this case you have a good gaming or professional level video card, then yeah, chances are you might look at get new drivers for that. So understand product activation. Activation can handle several ways. Again, you can find that information on here. Again, usually with Windows 10, activation is done over the web now. There's no code anymore, except for an education version. They do have a code in play there. So in case system requirements, understand how you log in. Local accounts and now Microsoft accounts. So Microsoft accounts, it just said it could be a personal account you have with Microsoft. It could be for one. It allows you access to OneDrive, Xbox, Skype, things like that. Also, you have domain accounts. So domain accounts are for work or school. So when you show up at school and you sit down in front of the Windows 10 system and you put in your login credentials, that's going to activate against Active Directory, and that's going to give you access. Authorization to access certain resources and certain levels of accounts. So again, this is going to be in more of the professional pro version, Active Directory. Chances are if you're running home, you just have a local only account or a Microsoft account. Some advantages of the Microsoft account is if you install Windows somewhere else, you can pick up those changes like your wallpaper and some other settings and copy them over. So up to you which one you want to use. Again, look at the information from Microsoft about that. Again, there's a lot of tools in play for this. Upgrade advisors, migration tools. A lot of these tools will help you migrate your current operating system to the new one while keeping your home directory intact. Excuse me. Intact being it won't wipe off your documents, music, photos. However, always have a backup just in case. So there's a bootable media. You do see this when it does boot. It actually boots a small version called Windows PE, pre-install environment, that actually installs Windows. So those are pretty straightforward. I think you'll see step by step for that in the text. It does talk about it, and I think shows you in some of the step-by-steps, and there's some screenshots about installing Windows. I think it's 5.01, at least at the time of this video. Yeah, here we go. So there's the Windows P environment right there. So there's no labs, I believe, this week on installing Windows, but just understand how it's done. It's pretty easy to make it very, very simple. So post-installation tasks, understand there's new shortcuts, new keys. Again, if you become new to Windows 10, there's new hotkeys, and some tablets have Windows buttons. The new OS itself, of course, has a newer look and feel. If you come from Windows 7, it's going to be a lot different. I'm going to show you one of the major things I will pull out would be the settings versus control panel, but we'll get that in a second. The GUI looks a little different, more of almost a mobile looking GUI, right? Slide on and off certain things. Also, you can configure the start menu. The new File Explorer, realize it's tabbed. If you don't see anything here, if I open File Explorer, and you're like, where's everything at? Click on this here, you can see there's the stuff. You can pin that down so you can always have it open. So it don't show up. It could be hidden like that. That's the a ribbon interface. Again, look at the chapter. I'm not going to go through everything here. We talked about some of this in Windows 10. Your favorites and so on, status bar. I just realized you can turn a lot of stuff on and off too. You can customize your view, the navigation pane, detail pane, so on. Show hidden items. So let's pin that down here. And of course you have options right there. So understand your view options, show hidden files and folders. Again, you can apply to everything. You can reset your defaults. If you have a folder you don't want indexed, maybe it's an external drive, you can turn that on or off. So Windows L key shortcut, some other things like that. I'm not going to go over all the shortcuts. Definitely can find out through the operating system help. New web browser, Microsoft Edge. Now, I know they just changed the icon too on this. By the time when I recorded this here, the icon's already changed. But Edge itself is going through some revisions. Edge is to replace Internet Explorer. And Explorer is a horrible web browser. So a lot of times companies will still have it because they have internal apps that still need Internet Explorer, i.e. 6, but Microsoft is trying to get people off of Internet Explorer. Edge has a different framework. I think it's a Chromium-based framework. Again, use it if you like. I'm going to go over here in this demonstration. Just realize it's there, and it's up to you if you like to use it. Again, drivers. There's a step-by-step. 5.02, you can use Device Manager. It's the first time I'm looking at Device Manager, and you can see the drivers. I'll just give a quick demo here. So first off here is the search page here. So Device Manager. Device Manager is a control panel item, which you can get to also here, Device Manager. And if I right-clicked on the Start button, the Windows 10 Start button, right-clicking on it, you can get this nice event viewer, power options, apps and features, disk management, computer management, things like that. So nice little shortcut there. File Explorer right there and so on. So Device Manager, again itself, this is where you can see your devices. And here, as before, you can also see in action properties. I'm always akin to right-click properties. Right-click on stuff, you can update drivers, disable a driver, uninstall a driver. Driver details. Update driver should go out to the web and look for the latest driver. If not, it'll prompt you for a local copy. Maybe you downloaded a driver from the manufacturer. So there's ways to do that. Right there. So, and then with driver details, you can really get the nitty-gritty there. Where the driver file is at. Driver files usually .sys files, but they also have supporting files with them. Usually called DLL files. And you can see information here about the device driver here. And if a driver has an issue or a device has an issue, it will have a usually be broken out here like this, and it'll have a warning or a red X to it if there's something wrong. So if I was to disable this device, it should have a little down arrow next to it. So as indicators you can get for disabled, enabled, uninstalled, re-enabled devices. Enabled devices, of course, show up normal. And devices with issues will have some X by them or a exclamation point. So that's a good thing for troubleshooting. And again, we go over troubleshooting a little more in depth. But understand Device Manager is your sort of interface to your devices, your underlying devices on your system. Again, you can personalize the display. I'm not going to go through all this here. I will bring this up here and to show you this. You can right-click on stuff and get the display settings. Now, what this launches is different from what we talked about in Windows 7. So I'm going to go off the rails here. Skip over that. So a big thing is, of course, control panel, which is really the heart of controlling your system. I'll close that there. This looks the same as we saw in Windows 7. It hasn't changed in Windows 8, again, which is now gone. It is really the heart of controlling your system. You can do the search here, search for like users, remove user, add user, and so on. There you go. So I add a new PC, and so So again, you can change information about an account, change the password, and things like that. So our control panel has not changed. There is some added stuff because of Windows 10, but the look and feel is the same. What is new to Windows 10, again, I'm not going to talk about 8. 8 sort of brought this in too, but let's say from Windows 7 to Windows 10, this is new in Windows 10. And this is the Settings tab. Start menu, looks like a gear. Think of Settings as an overlay for the control panel. It actually has some more stuff than the control panel has, but it might actually take you to control panel at some levels. So this is really should be your first stop for configuration of your computer. Devices, display settings. So again, as we dive down into this, you might find yourself going into control panel. If I was a control panel right now, and I went to display properties, you would see, look at our hardware and sound. Here's our devices, here's Device Manager, and so on. So if you come into here, let's get you Device Manager, Display Adapter, and you can get properties from that too. Sorry, right there. So we can almost get down to the same level of information through the control panel, also through the settings. So settings is going to add another layer of data and control. But again, it should be your first stop, and really this is going to be your best thing right here. Use a search here. So search for whatever you're looking for, add a user account, for example, and so on. There's sign-in options with Windows 10 offered. Windows 10 Hello, which offers biometrics and so on, so security key sign-ins. And again, I'm going to get into the debugger here. I just want to show you that this is something that's different with Windows settings versus control panel. And they sort of work together, and they also touch on the same areas of the operating system. So you'll see settings a lot and control panel a lot, vice versa. Like in this example here, so in the slide to ease of access, you can actually turn on and off certain things to help make the OS easier for you to use. And you can see by this slide here, this is in a control panel. So Windows updates, pretty important. Again, go to settings or control panel, or even just do a search for Windows update. Updates are automatically update by default now. So they're on by default, and they're mandatory in both retail editions. And you may get a trigger one after installation. So after you install, be prepared for updates to run. Don't think you're going to start using the OS right away. Recommend let those updates run. Specifically, you want those security updates. You don't want to be on the web with a unpatched operating system. Moving on to unwanted software. This is called bloatware. Definitely go and do this. It's just garbage. If it's not needed, get rid of it. And you can do it now a few ways. One of the great ways is you can actually go into in the textbook here, on the Start menu. You can right-click on stuff, and you might be able to uninstall it, you might not. It depends on the settings, and it depends on what it is. So there's uninstall for, in this case, the weather app. So if I don't want weather, I'm not going to install it. There we go. But when it comes to bloatware, it's talking about third-party software. So in this case, it's Lenovo Reach here, or live. Some stuff could be Windows. Like you saw, I removed the weather app that I don't want anymore. So you can really thin down your OS, and it's good to do this because first off, if I don't need to use it, why keep it? It's just going to add more garbage here to the Start menu, but also, if this is on my system and I don't use it, it could be running in the background. So if I want a lean, mean OS, I'm going to remove whatever I can. So other ways to remove it, of course, is in Control Panel. And you can uninstall a program here, and also in Settings. No surprise, you can uninstall apps here. So again, as I mentioned before, you're going to see a lot of times when you see the same functionality echoed in two areas. This is the case for Control Panel and Settings, but also you can go in and set default apps. What my default web browser to be? Not Edge, let's say, but So in any case, apps and features, and so on. Optional features, you can go and turn stuff on or off. There you go. So some good stuff there. Again, migrate data after a clean install. You need to bring your data back in. Now you do have a backup ability within Windows 10. You can go into settings and look for backups. I'm not going to do it here. I'll just keep it going here. There's a backup settings, and you can go into that, and it should give you the ability to plug in an external hard drive, or you also can use, I believe, backups into OneDrive. Now I bet you'd have both. There's that cloud-based backup, there's your local backup on an external device, and then of course there's your original files. So definitely want to turn on backups. And the important thing about backups, they should be automatic. It's not like, every so often I plug in an external hard drive or a thumb drive and I copy my files over. It's still better than nothing. I will say this though, you want to have it be automatic. So again, keep that in mind. And if you do come to Windows 10 brand new and you copy your files over, definitely want to look at set up a backup solution. So here you can see you can create system images and so on. This stuff's pretty much the same. Action Center. This is sort of a breakout here. You can change notifications here, and there's actually some. You can modify this as you see fit. You can toggle off certain things, night mode, VPN if you have one, a projector. This is sort of new to Windows 10. Realize that you can go in there and change these things. Again, look in settings. Then again, here's the GUI mode. You can have this sort of tablet mode, and you can go in and turn this on by default. So if you have a tablet-based device, you can have this. If you don't want it, you can turn it off, which was a good job by Microsoft to do that. Cortana. Introduced in Windows 8.1 though, if you have a microphone, you can talk to your computer outside of cussing at it when it's not working correctly. You can do voice queries with Cortana. This is the Siri, the Amazon Echo, also the same thing here. And again, you can also turn this on or off. If you want to have Cortana turned off, you could turn it off. So, and you can configure what you want to see when you click on that button, what stuff is up here. So look around for, settings here. Search settings, indexing options. You can do quick searches and so on. So look for all the ways you can change all this in the OS. Again, I usually post, or if I didn't post a PDF to your class shell, a privacy checkup for Windows 10. Definitely Google it. There's some the PDF. By the time this video comes out here, the PDF could already be out of date. But think about going through and looking at what does Windows 10 collect about me. Look at my privacy. What is it communicating back? It's just good to know. It's up to you to allow or not allow certain features. I think it's smart to make sure the OS is audited by you for your privacy. And then this goes on top of security, which of course is your firewall, antivirus, and so on. Windows 10 store apps. Again, there's really there's apps on there. You can get stuff. So desktop apps, Windows mobile apps. I'm not going to get into that. So there are virtual desktops. You can see that you can have multiple desktops running. Very handy. So desktop 1, desktop 2, and so on. If you do a lot of multitasking, you're able to organize your work. Let's talk about the Microsoft Store. Let's talk about a couple things you can get from Microsoft. One of them is already here installed by default, if it comes up here. And that would be, let's just type in Defender, Windows Security. So should be down here, which is not showing any of the icons. This, I believe, comes from the App Store, but actually comes installed by default. Windows 10 Defender. In Windows 7, we talked about Defender and actually how it has sort of, they offered Security Essentials back in the day, and it sort of became this now. So again, Defender's morphed, brought in Security Essentials, and it's actually installed by default. Props to Windows. Good job, Microsoft, by offering security out the door with security. So you're not left to having your own antivirus. And this is my personal opinion, based on my work with cybersecurity and trying to create some malware to get around this. This is a tough cookie to get around. It's fantastic. It updates automatically. It scans automatically. And actually, if you install another third party, it probably will should disable the virus protection if you install a third party. Does it by default, because 2 antiviruses is not better than 1. So it actually causes issues with multi-antivirus. It's just the thing as more antivirus, the better. It actually causes a lot more system issues. And I speak as a gamer on my Windows 10 laptop down here, my MSI system. This thing I don't have any performance hits with this. Really, very little issues at all. So, kind of things you want to think about. Again, up to you. Run an antivirus, something. If you like McAfee, you like Avast, whatever. Have something running. Just remember, it comes default and it works great. So, and see how I got ahead of myself. Again, look at the privacy settings. Turn on Windows Hello if you like. Biometrics is great. You can use that face recognition or fingerprint. Passport will allow you to sign into other, they call single sign-on, other assets on the network. For home use, probably not a big deal. It's more of a domain-based. Again, Windows Defender, there we go. We already talked about that. anti-malware protection out the door. Again, this is an important note though. It usually does, it's going to disable at least the antivirus part if you install another third-party antivirus. But again, firewall's on by default. Most of the time you don't need to do anything with it. Realize it's there though in the status page. If you do, you can go into the advanced features. We talked about this in the security lecture, so I won't go over it again here. That's an important point. So when it comes to Windows 10, install is pretty straightforward. Understand what you're installing into. Understand you have to back up your data. Understand you might want to probably update your device drivers. Device drivers are going to be new. Device managers are new, a topic we introduced here. And we're going to see it again in a separate lecture when we get into troubleshooting Windows. Understand though, I think the biggest thing is control panel and settings. This is new to Windows 10. It's going to offer Control Panel Plus. So anyways, come away with that. If you're doing a lab this week, make sure you follow the lab step by step. A lot of them might have you going into NetLab here and using this OS to find certain things, so and take certain screenshots. So in case, it's Windows 10 in a nutshell. We'll definitely be back at Windows 10 again, digging a little more deeper into the operating system. That's all. Thank you.